Here's Alhassan Suhuyini, Member of Parliament for Tamale North. And he's writing on his social media platform. And I want to walk you through what he says. So it starts as follows. Next time, please put Suhuyini's photograph there. He says, like life, death and taxes, change is the other constant. Therefore, I'm not against constructive changes born out of an exhaustive consultation process involving key stakeholders of the party to our front bench as a minority group. Clearly, he says, however, that is not what has happened, no matter how well-intentioned it may be. Worst of all, whoever is advising the strategy of the proposed new leaders is feeding into a normal human extreme greed and selfishness, perhaps because those people are unable to untame their greed too. This is heavy from Suhuyini. The second paragraph. Let's look at it again. He says, clearly, comma, that is not what has happened, comma, no matter how well-intentioned it may be, full stop. Worst of all, he continues, whoever is advising the strategy of the proposed new leaders is himself feeding into a normal human extreme greed and selfishness. Well, Suhuyini, human extreme greed and selfishness is not normal. So, Alhaji, please, don't say this. It's not normal. The things you are saying, human extreme greed and selfishness cannot be normal. It's not normal. So, well, let me read it again. It's feeding into a human extreme greed and selfishness, comma. Perhaps, he says, because those people are unable to untame their greed too. So, he's identifying two groups of greedy people. Those who are making the decision, supporting the decision with strategy, and those who are themselves implementers of the decision. He's identifying both groups as greedy. Well, we don't know. Continue. He says, given the composition of our caucus as against our opponents and the expectation of what we can achieve together and the reality of what we cannot, even if we are together, it will take extreme greed and selfishness to want to lead this NDC caucus at all costs at this time, without a toss about long-term consequences on the caucus and the party. Suhuyini is angry. He says, I wonder why it seems people think they can intimidate the entire caucus into submitting to an authority we consider inappropriately constituted. Some may, he says, but not majority of us. And it's not personal, it's conviction. It is principled. Wow. Wow. Viewers, wow. Wow, 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 wow. It hasn't ended. So, Lawyer Egbenya then comes up and says, some good points raised, Honorable, speaking to Suhuyini. He said, I'm just wondering, how does the current mode of changing the leadership differ from those of the past, especially the one that brought the outgoing leaders into office? Suhuyini promptly replies. He says, Lawyer Egbenya, I will tell you, regional caucuses were made to vote. General Mosquito was the elected commissioner, and Honorable Ernest Nogbe was the returning officer in the D.F. Annan Auditorium of Parliament. That's how we settled on the current leaders. Fantastic. Comes back to my point about Ofusu Ampofo's leadership, General Mosquito's leadership. Apparently, we are now finding out, we are not part of the caucus, so we don't know. But Alhassan Suhuyini is telling us, and we believe him. Now, he's saying that in the first instance, in the 4th January 2021 that Sam George referred to, this is what happened. Regional caucuses were made to vote that he, General Mosquito, the one who is taking unilateral decisions today, the one who is taking undemocratic decisions today, he, General Mosquito, he was the electoral commissioner for that process. And Honorable Ernest Nogbe was the returning officer at the DF Annan Auditorium where votes were cast. Regional representatives were made to cast ballots to determine whether Idrisu Haruna will be the leader, whether Aveji will be the deputy leader, whether Mubarak Muntaka will be the whip. All of that decision was made. Put back the photograph of Ofusu Ampofo and General Mosquito, and let me make the point. It feeds into that same point. That's the leadership of Professor Ampofo, which the NDC have gladly rejected. And this is the leadership of Johnson Asiedu Nketia, which the NDC have elected. That's the story. What is happening is just a difference in leadership style. It's just a difference in one person's perception of what democracy and consultation should be, and another person's perception of what unilateralism should be and what it can achieve. One text message is telling us that Johnson Asiedu Nketia has jetted off to Canada to be with his family in the heat of the confusion. I told you that he doesn't care. He's taken his decision. He's gone. He really doesn't care. Oh. He's chairman of the party. That's the decision he's taking. You work with it or you leave it. He's gone to Canada. You can please yourself. He'll be back. He's not going to go for long. He'll be back. By the time the parliament resumes, he will be here. He's a member of the Parliamentary Service Board appointed by Alban Sumanu Kingsford Bagbein, the speaker. So Johnson Asiedu Nketia will come and take a seat when the parliament resumes. But now he's in Canada, they say. He doesn't care. But that's the kind of leadership that has been elected. And that's the leadership that we had complained about before. This is the leadership that has been rejected today. And NDC MPs are writing it out and saying it out, and they are beginning to understand what some of us understood a very long time ago.